Hello and welcome to the Truth in Black and White Week 7 Prediction Show. I'm your host for this week's show. My name is Kevin Keynote Edwards. I'm going to run through all the scores this week and predict the scores against the line and also the over and under. So be careful and listen out as I get to each game and share with you my thoughts. Before we go ahead and do that, I just want to share a couple of things with you. Ticket sales for the Denver-Miami game are up as Tebow goes home for a homecoming. Just want you to know that. Also, Drew Rosenhaus, that would be Terrell Owens' manager, says that he is ready to come back to the NFL. His knee is all rehabbed and he's ready to go. Don't know if anybody's knocking on Drew's door, but we shall see. Another thing that we need to let you know is Carson Palmer will get to start in Oakland this week. We'll see how that goes. And I got to ask, how really bad is Kyle Boller if a guy who's been retired or claims to be retired since the end of last season can come in without a week's worth of practice and start over somebody who's been there? How bad is Kyle Boller? Goodness gracious. Oh, goodness. Washington Redskins in need of a change. They're going to bench Rex Grossman, and they're going to start John Beck, the mighty John Beck. So I guess you can dub this week the week of the quarterback change. We've got Ponder in, McNabb out, Palmer in, Bowler out, Beck in, Grossman out, and, of course, down in mighty Miami this week, Tebow is in. Let me get to the most important game of the week for those people who live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that would be my blowout game of the week. Yes, I said blowout, and I am talking Cowboy blowout. I'll tell you, the boys are better than they look. Their record is 2-3, but I really think they're better than they look. The Rams, not so good. I think Romo still might make a couple of mistakes here and there, but it won't matter because Ryan's defense will handle the Rams without much problem. The Rams average about 10 points a game anyway. I don't see them doing much against the Cowboys defense because that's really the only unit of the Cowboys that's doing any good at the moment. Romo will throw for a lot of yards, but I say take the boys and give the points. The points are 13 this week. You also want to take the over at 44. Moving ahead to that game in Miami, we're looking at Miami-Denver this week, where Tebow is coming back to Florida to play as a starting quarterback for the first time. As I mentioned earlier in our report, the ticket sales are up ever since he was mentioned as the quarterback. I think he shines in this game. I really have no other reason to think that he won't do well. He's kind of coming home. The crowd will be in his favor. They're going to shorten the playbook for him. So they'll try to make him as successful as possible. I don't know if that success will last over the coming weeks. We don't know how good a quarterback he will be. But in a one-game situation, not a lot of tape on him, not a lot of study on him, I think he might shine, especially against a Miami team that, quite frankly, just isn't good. Just isn't good. So what I would tell you is Denver wins outright over the favored Dullfish. The Dullfish are favored by 1.5, but I do think, like I said, Denver wins outright. We're going to look at a 21-10 kind of win. Also, take the under in this. The 43 points is the over and under. I would say take the under in this. Moving ahead, we're at Cleveland-Seattle. Cleveland's at home. The Brownies are giving 3 points to the Seahawks, but I still think they will roll. I'll roll with the visitors, Seattle. Seattle beat a good team, the Giants, 2 weeks ago. Last week they had a bye. My thought is that they may have found something when they took the G-men out. Maybe they'll work it up in the bye week and come out this week and do something good against the Brownies. On the other hand, the Brownies lost 2 weeks ago, had a bye week, and came out of the bye week and then lost again. So I'm not real excited about the direction Cleveland is going, so I'm going to take Seattle in this one. I'm going to look at Seattle 17, the Browns 10. The line is 7, but I do think, like I said, the line is 3, but I do think, like I said, Seattle wins by 7. Also, take the under. Neither one of these teams scores a lot of points. Not a lot of offense there. Moving ahead, Minnesota, Green Bay. Minnie hasn't looked good all year. Changing quarterbacks when you're going to play the Green Bay Packers is not real good. It's just not a good idea. You might as well have had McNabb in for another week. I'd hate to think that this guy Ponder is going to be thrown to the wolves, so to speak, in his first game. They might as well wait next week when they've got, I think it's Carolina next week, another a team that they have actually a chance of beating, since they have absolutely no chance of beating Green Bay. Man, how far has McNabb fallen? Goodness gracious, he can't even start in Minnesota that has a tremendous running game with Adrian Peterson. He doesn't even have to do much. Just hand the ball to Peterson. Hell, I think I can do that. Anyway, we're looking at a Green Bay. Green Bay is giving 9 points. I will take the points. Give the points. Green Bay wins outright. Minnesota 14. Green Bay 20 points better at 34. And I'm also thinking take the over in that game. Green Bay might take the over all by themselves. The over is 46.5. The reason why I say they might take that by themselves is when you got this new quarterback situation, you never know. You just never know. Moving ahead, Carolina at Washington. The line there is 3. I'm looking for Carolina to really hand it to Washington here. Washington will try to keep their offense grounded by handing the ball off. I don't think that's going to work too well. Cam Newton has a lot of weapons out in the field there that he can throw to. He's already thrown for 400 yards twice, 375 once. I think he'll probably throw the ball around the yard. He's got a lot of weapons to work with. And just because he will bury Washington in the first half of the game, Washington's running game, they can't run anymore after they're down. If they're really going to want to win, they're going to have to try to do something big to win. I don't think they can handle it. Very important stat that I found is the Deadskins team has a total yards, passing and running, of 1,700 yards so far this season. Cam Newton, all by himself, passing and his own running, 2,000 plus yards. I say Carolina 24 over Washington. Stay under as the Skins don't do their part. I would take the under. The under is 43 points. Next game, Detroit-Atlanta. Hot Atlanta is going to get smoked when they go up to Detroit. I think Detroit fell off the bicycle, so to speak, last week. I think they hopped back on and pedaled to a victory. I don't think Atlanta is going to do much against Detroit. I think Detroit is a much better team, and they seem to be on a mission. So I'm going to take Detroit at home, 34-20 over Atlanta. Take the over. The over is 47. I don't think that Detroit will stop them. I just think that Detroit will outscore them in this one. Tampa, the line is 1 against Chicago, and I think Chicago is the favorite team. I don't know why that's the case, but they are. They're playing in a neutral field, I guess, London, Wembley Stadium. And I just think that Tampa Bay will do the job here. I'm picking them 20-10 over Chicago. Both teams will be jet lagged, but I think Tampa will do the job here. And I think they're outright winners. So take the points. The Bears, like I said, 10, Tampa 20, and go with the under. Neither one of these teams are really scoring machines, so there you go. Houston, Tennessee, a battle of, well, two teams that used to play in Houston. Anyway, moving right along, I think Wade's defense needs to wake up and stop the Johnson. That would be Chris Johnson. Let Hasselbeck try to become a hero, which I don't think he can be. And I doubt that he can, so Schaub will be the hero. He's got better weapons, a better arm. He'll just need to put on a better show than he has in the last couple of weeks. I think Houston's the better team here, even though Tennessee is winning the division. Let's go with Houston 28, Tennessee 17. They both barely combined to go over. All right? Barely over. Tennessee's the 3-point favorite, but like I said, Houston wins outright 28-17. The game of the week, at least for me, probably the best game of the week, is my Jets against San Diego. San Diego flies all the way across the country just to get their butts handed to them. I think that the Mean Green defense will handle San Diego. I think they're a little banged up with no Gates. Gates got a foot problem, so he's going to be out. And I also think the defense can rattle Rivers a little bit and make Rivers make mistakes. And I think the mistakes that'll be caused by the Jet D will allow the Jets to win this one, even though they are not favored. 24-20 over San Diego. The over and under is 43.5. Just barely over, I think, in this one. So we'll take the over in that, and we'll also take the Jets outright winners over San Diego. 2 more games to go. Both of them snoozers. The Raiders, Kansas City, go under. Please go under in this game. I don't think the Raiders, with a new quarterback, that they're gonna put up there. Carson Palmer, I don't think after a week of practice, that he's gonna do much. The Raiders 16, KC 10. Look at the under big. And the Saints, Indy. I think Indy's getting better every week, although I do think this is still going to be a snoozy kind of game where the Saints come and take control and snatch this one up pretty handily. I think Painter is going to get a few lucky breaks, maybe a couple of big passes down the field. He's got a big arm. He's got some nice receivers, but I don't think he can get the job done totally. I would say to you, my friends, take Indy, give the points, whatever. And 14, by the way. And the Saints win 34-23. The over is 48. What can I tell you? Take the over. That's it for this week's games. Just want to remind you the recap show will be up probably Tuesday. Wish everybody the best. Good football this weekend. The Truth in Black and White prediction show is sponsored by Dallas Sports and More. See you next week. Go pick some winners.